Good morning. My name is Ellie Bridges Greenfield, and I invite you to take a journey with me back to sophomore year. Standing at the bleachers at the whiteout CBHS football game, Olivia, Hankins, and I are trying to decide who is brave enough to talk to the boy on the bleacher below us. Not knowing anyone at the game except a handful of people who have already moved to different areas of the stadium, we believed we needed to befriend at least one person at the game in order to consider it a successful outing. Somehow, I got roped into being the person to talk to this boy, so as I slowly start to make my way next to him, I hear Olivia giggle and laugh behind me. Her laughter gets louder when he not only fully rejects my subtle offer to be friends, but also moves his legs once I leave so that there isn't enough room for me to come back and stand next to him again. Despite my humiliation, I had Olivia to come back to. Unable to stop laughing, Olivia brought out the humor in this cringy experience and caused me to do the same. She made me laugh then, and she still does today. Not only would I consider Olivia a person with a great sense of humor who radiates positivity, but also a stable and loyal friend who you can rely on. She is considerate, friendly, and very entertaining. Olivia dedicates herself to her studies in the classroom and training both in the field and on the tennis court. I am so glad to call her my friend. Now, I'm going to stop talking and present to you the regal, brilliant, and beautiful Olivia Shannon Hankins.
We all end in the ocean, we all start in the streams. We're all carried along by the river of dreams. If I had written that, I may have been with Evie at Grammy Camp instead of rewatching Glee in my bed all summer long. Although I am far from the song's composer, worldwide musical sensation Billy Joel, you may have heard of him, I too have a river of dreams, a place of refuge where I am free from fear. You may assume that this is the little river tucked in the folds of green spruce and elk trees of Elkmont Campground that I hold so close to my heart. It could even be the relentless Mississippi upon which our city rests. Great guesses, but alas, my river lies not in the valleys of the Smoky Mountains or alongside the rugged banks of the Mississippi. My sacred river of dreams is the muggy, moldy, E. coli breeding pool of Memphis's very own Rick Newber YMCA. Sophomore year, I joined the swim team. I'm pretty athletic. I work out. I can run for a solid 20 minutes. Surely those skills transfer into the pool, right? Wrong. After the first practice, I could barely walk. I had forgotten that that level of exhaustion even existed. But I went back and practiced consistently the entire fall. Just when I was getting comfortable, I saw an email from Coach Colin regarding our swim meet schedule, and I thought the world was about to burst into flames. I grew up hating competition. For some people, it's motivating, but not I. You see, I, much like McKinley, like to succeed. And the likelihood of success is much too unpredictable when it's based on the efforts of a person completely independent from me. So it makes sense why I was petrified. Even though I was putting in as much time and energy as my teammates, I still felt inadequate. I couldn't even do a flip turn, and there were days that sixth graders passed me during practice. Competing was just a way to document my failure in county records. I had a strange number of headaches during winter of sophomore year and was sadly only able to make it to one very required meet. When my grandparents asked how I did, I told them I got second place, but I didn't mention that there were only 3 racers total and that we were in the slowest time bracket of the entire meet. 2 years later, I am still no Madeline Hayes, that's for sure. My flip turn is questionable, and while I swim laps at the Y, I pass time by wondering just how the 120-pound lifeguard will save me when my body gives out. However, I no longer dread meets or the vulnerability that it takes to compete in them. As James Clear puts it, when you fall in love with the process rather than the product, you don't have to wait to give yourself permission to be happy. I'd extend this truth by saying that when you fall in love with continual growth, you don't risk losing all happiness in the event that your product isn't as perfect as you expected. Before my first practice in that YMCA pool, I was a Class A perfectionist. Happiness was a reward for reaching the goals I had set, and I never stepped too far out of my comfort zone as to risk failure. But the mental challenge that swimming presents has forced me to reevaluate this criteria. Happiness is not a reward. It does not have to be earned, and it surely isn't just a product of success. I know this because, frankly, if my happiness rested on my swim success, I would be a sad, sad girl. But amidst what some would see as failure, swimming actually adds joy to my life. Rather than fixating on that one coordinate where your river meets the ocean, may it be a future job or a first place ribbon, great joy can be found in the peace of the present. Does the great Billy Joel say that we're on a river to dreams? No, river of dreams. At every moment, we are evolving, adjusting, and growing. When we are freed from an obsession over what that growth may produce, every menial step of the process begins to outturn joy, and we can learn to be happy just floating, knowing that we're on a river of dreams. To my beyond beautiful class of 2021, thank you for making St. Mary's my home for the past 4 years, 5 if you count SK. You have taught me to embrace both my strengths and weaknesses and showed me the beauty that lies in growth. Each of you has and shares a light that is unmatched, and wherever you end up next year, that light will follow. It will reflect off of library windows and dining hall chairs and glossy dorm floors, brightening the faces of each person that it hits. I truly believe that the light of our class is unmistakable, and one day its reach across the world will be infinite. Love fiercely, work hard, embrace imperfection, and never forget just how much worth you really hold. Thank you.